Hello guys, this is your boy Brajobe Gamba. Yeah, now again about home. Welcome to BJ Podcast. I'm here with my team and Poloko in the house.
Yeah, this is your boy Andres, and you know what we're doing? We're unfolding, baby.
Yeah, hey guys, this is the first lady of BJ Podcast. I hope you enjoy it and tune in.
Tanko. Guys, we are here with Poloko, one of the best motivational speaker, exciting love. Poloko,
Yes,
welcome to BJ
Yes,
Podcast,
sir.
man. How's it?
Yes, I didn't like everybody. One of the best.
One of the best.
One of the
man.
best. Not just on your side.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You're one of the best.
But thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one, and it's great meeting the team.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have you guys are operating. This is a whole
You also
operation going on
operating,
here.
man. I don't, if I'm not mistaken, you also have books. And we were saying on your, I don't know, is this other life?
Yeah.
You don't care. You never ask them anything, but for them to go buy the book.
Yep. Now we've got the second book coming out this year, November.
Yeah.
I guess we're already doing plugs now.
Oh yeah.
Let me plug myself right now. Go to polokoglobal.com.
Yeah.
And pre-order my next book. So my next book is coming out in November. The first one came out last year, March. So we're pushing.
Yeah.
Soon as this one is done, before the end of this year, I'll be writing the third one already. I'm just...
Yo, are you pushing?
Life is short, Chief.
Life is short.
I
Yeah.
have to, gotta work.
So who's Poloko?
Poloko is a guy, man. Poloko is just a guy from Rustenburg. A speaker as well. That's what I do. What I do is I speak. I don't like to define myself by what I do. I'm not a speaker. I do speak, but I'm not a speaker. As for who I am Poloko.
So you
Poloko from Rustenburg. Grew up in Rustenburg pretty much all my life. Just recently moved to Midrand. End of last year. It's not so recent anymore, but end of last year I moved to Midrand. And I'm trying to keep up with the pace on this side with everything that you guys are doing here. They told me that this is where
everything is quick this side.
They said the money's here. Let me just be very honest. They said the money's here. So
But you're making money though this side since you came this
my
side.
man. Don't get people to rob me. Don't get me robbed.
Okay.
This man's trying to get me robbed. As soon as I walk out the door, people are just waiting for me.
Hey, this guy
so,
just do-
apparently you're making money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you study that side? Like
Where did I study? Do you mean tertiary?
from the beginning.
So from the beginning, so I'm actually a village boy, man. So I grew up in a village called Tatlahanyane. It's the outskirts of Rustenburg. That's where I grew up for a couple of years. The first few years of my childhood, went to primary school over there. From there, moved to another village. I lived in Kuruman for a while, in the Northern Cape. Every time people hear about Kuruman, they always roast Kuruman. No one has anything good to say about Kuruman, but
Martina, see that side.
Sure. So I moved to Kuruman for a couple of years, and then I came back to Rustenburg again. When I was in Kuruman, that's when I was living with my grandmother, because I was grandma's boy. My mom has always been around. She's still around, but I was grandma's boy. So I moved to Kuruman. I said I want to live with my grandmother. When she passed away, that's when I said, okay, sharp, I'll live with my mom then. So came back to Rustenburg, stayed in Rustenburg, did high school in Rustenburg. From there, at 19, started speaking.
You went to high school or you already done high school by that time?
No, I was done with high school. So that's the year after high school when I started speaking.
The university,
No, so I didn't go to tertiary.
you didn't go to
I didn't go.
So when you are clever, man.
So then, if you didn't go to tertiary, what did you do after matric? You started speaking and that made money for you.
So afterwards, what I did is I started in church, right? Church was actually a great platform for me. So I started doing this internship at a church that we had back there. It's a local church, very excellent church, really. It had an internship, and in this internship, you learn a lot of things. So like, sound production, video production. And one of the things that someone identified in me, they were like, you're a good speaker. I had a mentor that time, she said, you can speak well. So then I started preaching at church. From there, went into schools. Did high schools, pretty much every major high school in town. I was there speaking to the students every week. So that became a passion of mine. So from there, for a couple of years, I was just speaking to high school students. Then from there, that's when the message started becoming relevant to people who are my age and people who are older than me now. And now I don't even know if I'm still relevant with high school students anymore, but it sort of evolved into that. It matured into me speaking to young adults and pretty much everyone. Yeah.
So do you see yourself going back to school?
Going back to school, you mean for me to study? Yeah, no, definitely. I'm actually currently studying. I started doing a course this year, beginning of this year. I started studying this year, and that's another thing as well, right? Like, you know, when you're younger, and this is one of the things that I regretted for a long time. When you're younger, you have a lot of people, you listen to a lot of millionaires and motivational speakers, and they say, school is for suckers, don't go to school. You know, so-and-so is a millionaire, and they didn't go to school. So-and-so is a millionaire, and they didn't go to school. And you listen to these guys, and especially for us, right? For people like myself, where I come from, I don't know a lot of things, man. I don't have parents who could teach me accounting, who could teach me how to do basic things. I didn't have basic understanding of economics, right? You need to understand these things, but for us, we just say, no, I'm not gonna go to school. So-and-so didn't go to school, so-and-so didn't go to school. And most of these guys had good parents who understood, you know, things that they can't teach to anyone else, right? My parents didn't know those things. My parents, I don't know if my parents can, you know, they still don't have that knowledge, right? But I had to then figure out, okay, Poloko, stop listening to these guys. Get yourself educated, learn something. And it doesn't mean you have to go get a degree. It means go on Udemy, right? Udemy, these online courses, just pick up the skills. It's not even about the paper. It's not about having something behind your name. I don't care about that. People tell me, have something behind your name. I don't care about having something behind my name. I want to know stuff. Like I meet a lot of young guys who are in the entertainment space, who are influencers, doing music. They know nothing about business. They know nothing about accounting. They know nothing about anything. And that's why they're getting screwed over all the time, right? You see even older guys, you know, even older guys who are getting screwed over all the time because they don't understand anything about what they do. They don't know the business side. They just know how to make a beat. They know how to rap. And then they have all these people with suits come in and take advantage of it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying, like, just get yourself something, just get the knowledge, the basics. You just need that. So that's why I started studying this year. So I'm not one of those people who are telling everybody, don't go to school. Don't go to school. Mark Zuckerberg didn't finish. No, chief. Mark Zuckerberg is good. And as a matter of fact, he only dropped out when things were popping. That's when he dropped out. You know what I'm saying? When he had something, that's when he dropped out. A lot of guys, they have nothing, absolutely nothing. And so the reason I say it's a regret as well is because a couple of years ago, when I was still struggling, trying to put things together, I had a couple back home who wanted to pay for me to go to school. Right? They said, Poloko, go to school. You know, go get the information, tell us what you want to study. Everything is on us. Right, both the husband and the wife, they even spoke to me separately. Like both of them, every time they saw me, they said, you are gifted, you have great potential, go to school. Now, it's not that they wanted me to go to school so that I can go get a job. They wanted me to just equip myself, have some knowledge, know something. You know, because a lot of our guys don't know. They don't have information. So it's one of the regrets that I have from the past few years, that when they said to me, you can go to school, we'll pay for you, I didn't take that opportunity. Because I would have fast-tracked my progress. I'd be further than I am right now. You know, now there's things that I'm learning now, even about accounting. I'm like, oh, so that's why they got Dr. Malinga, right? Like, that's why I'm watching this. I'm like, I listened to Dr. Malinga talk the other day. I'm like, that's why they got him. These are things that I'm learning now, right? Even when you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, so when you just trusted an accountant, you just trusted whoever, you just trust, you know, so and so. So yeah, I think information is important. So right now I am studying, and you know, every time I speak to someone, I encourage them, go learn something. Go learn something. I don't care about the papers. I don't care about having something behind your name. It's the information.
So, did you learn your English at the village, the school?
Yeah, because you're very well spoken.
Yeah, because obviously those village schools, man, English, man, that side.
Nah, so So this is
You speak nice English, man. You speak proper English.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Proper English, bro.
No, I don't know how to tell people this, but it sounds so cliche because I just read.
Yeah.
I started reading.
Yeah.
You know, I started watching things that interest me, things that I could learn from. Like when I watch a movie, I don't just watch a movie just to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're watching a movie and then you hear someone say amalgamate. I'm like, pause. What does amalgamate mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's
yeah.
simple things like that. Like that's really how I learn. I just learn from just observation around me. It wasn't anything different. It wasn't like I was in the States for a while and then I came back. It was never that. It was never that. I just read as much as I can and I listen.
It's true. Reading increases your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Yep.
So who's your spiritual pillar?
Man, that's a deep question. We're already so deep. Spiritual pillar. What does that mean? I'm not sure.
Okay. When you're at your lowest, you know, you're a motivational speaker. Mostly, I believe you motivate yourself enough. But
Yeah.
when you feel like, you know, like now it's the end, you know, like who do you talk to? Who's the person that you can sit down with and just openly talk to her or him and say, you know what, this is what I have, this is what I'm going through, and is the person that you, even though they don't give you advice, but just them listening to you would make a difference.
Now I get you, man. I have let me tell you this. I have a phenomenal support structure. So I've got friends, I've got people who are mentors, right? It's these two different groups. Like there are friends that I call when it's going down. Like when it's just going down and everything is a mess. There are friends that I call. And you know, some friends back home, some friends around here as well. And it's a very few people, but to answer your question, there's a specific mentor that I have who I speak to about everything, right? Everything, whatever's going on in my personal life, at home, you know, things that stress me out. So I just go there and then I'm just vulnerable with them. And what I like is that they are straight with me. Nope, okay, sharp. This is what's going on. What do we do now? Okay, let's move on. So I've got a mentor. I've got some friends, really amazing friends around me. And I feel like if she happens to see this, and I didn't mention her, I might lose some points. So I've also got a lady in my life that has become a very strong pillar. And I've never said this anywhere else. So this is a BJ podcast exclusive, right? This is a BJ podcast exclusive.
Yeah.
I've never said this to anyone else, but she's phenomenal. She's phenomenal. I'm not gonna say too much about her, you know, names and stuff, but she's really amazing. So that's one of those people that I go to and say, hey man, listen, this is how I feel. This is what's going on. And then she just reminds me of the things that I always say to other people. You know, sometimes you know these things, but it's better when you hear it from someone else. So yeah, that's that support structure.
So that woman
nice, man.
is she your partner?
Yeah, that's my partner. That's my partner.
That's your
And
partner.
I like that word as well because that's the word she uses. She doesn't like saying boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
Wherever we go,
Yeah.
she's like, this is my partner. Yeah, so I heard about this before.
Kids?
So
kids?
No. I thank God. Thank God I don't have kids for now. So both my parents are still alive. My mom is still alive. My biological father, I don't know where he is. I don't know him.
Really?
Right? I'm the typical story of the black kid who doesn't know his biological father. So I've never known him, but my dad, my stepdad, he's alive and well, still around. So family's still around, man. Family's still around.
Okay,
But
so and
I hope there's no kids.
how's the relationship between you and your dad?
Which one? My stepdad?
No, the one that raised you. Yeah.
The one
We,
that-
we can't
yes,
we
yes.
can't really label him as a stepdad,
Yes.
you know.
Between me and my dad. You know, let me tell you this. It's one of those things that was so challenging for me when I when I moved in to live with them. Because at first I didn't grow up with them. I grew up with my grandmother. In my life, there was no male figure in my life. Like from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
From when I was a kid, it was grandmother, it was my aunties, it was women. And this is why I have such great respect for women. I was raised by women. It was my aunties, my grandmother, my mother. And then along the way, my mother got married. But even when she got married, I didn't live with them because I was still living with my grandmother. So when I was 12 and I went in to live with them, it was challenging because now all of a sudden there is a male in my life. Like there's this man, and sometimes when I walk around, I try to put my chest out, just to show that I'm still the man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But of course I'm not the man. I'm not living in my house. It's not my house, so I can't be the man. But yeah, man, I have great respect for him. I always say, there's not a whole lot that he was able to give me, right? In terms of just little things like what I could use to make money, teaching me business principles and all those things. There's a lot that I had to learn from outside. But just looking at him, I was telling someone this yesterday, actually, that this man, it's incredible because I hear a lot of stories about other men. This man, I don't think there's a day when my mother has had to wonder, where are you? Because if he's not at work, he's at home with his family, right? He's not the guy that's everywhere with everybody. He doesn't drink at all, so he's not a problem on that front. So he's a great man. He's a great man, and the fact that I have great respect for any man can take someone else's children and raise them
as their own.
While the father's somewhere out there. He's somewhere out there, but
He's a man.
Yeah.
That's a man.
A true gentleman.
That's really a man.
Yeah. So what's the bad experience you've ever experienced in your life?
Bad experience. I think if you'll talk about, I'll say the most painful thing that has ever happened
What's
to
your
me.
biggest failure?
My biggest failure. Let me see.
Or we can just say tragedy.
Tragedy. See, you guys are confusing.
Using different names.
Okay. You guys are confusing me. But okay, so the first great I'll say pain that I've ever experienced. That's when I was 11 and a half, I think, and my grandmother passed away. Right there, that's when the world just seemed like it was dull, it was dark, it was over. That happened, and it's one of those things that when you're a child, you think it's gonna hurt forever. When it's like, I don't think this pain is gonna pass. Like you look at other people smiling and you're like, I don't think that's gonna happen. I still remember I was a kid at that time, and just being at school, break time, I want to go hide somewhere because I know I'm about to cry. In class, I asked to go to the bathroom because I can feel the tears coming. It was one of those things, but all is well that ends well, man, because I look back at that and I'm like, okay, when I look at it in the grand scheme of things, I realize that everything is necessary for it to happen the way it does, man. And of course, I'm not glad that my grandmother passed away, but I'll tell you this now. If she was still alive, I'd still be in the village with her. I would have stayed there with her. I loved her so much. I was like, I was gonna stay there with her. I was determined. I'm staying here with my grandmother. I'm never leaving. As long as I'm happy here. And maybe there wouldn't have been anything wrong with that, but now I realize that I am at a point in my life where I see the potential for me to impact the whole entire world and go to places and do incredible things with my life. So when you look back at it, you're like, it makes sense. It makes sense. It wasn't nice at the time, but it makes sense. So even when you talk about failures and tragedies, there's been a couple of things that have happened along the way, man. Like there's been a couple of things, especially for someone like me. Someone like me, I'm one of those people who are crazy enough to try everything. Like I just go for it, right? If I feel like something is right, I go for it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this. Let me say it this way before I say what I want to say. I'll tell you what I love most about my life. I don't have anything that I look back at and wonder what would have happened if I had just nothing. There isn't one of those things. When I wanted to do something, I went ahead and did it. When I was wondering, I wonder how it would feel for me to speak in front of people. First time I got that opportunity, I got up in front of high school students and I spoke to them. You know, I never have to wonder what would have happened if I had just taken that bold step. You know, the first job that I had was a job that I asked for. Yeah, there was no CV, no nothing. You know, to this day, I've never had a CV.
Really?
I haven't drafted a CV for myself. But, you know, it came from me just serving and helping out. And then I was like, hey, guys, I can do this. And I remember at that time, they were like, nope, we don't have a job for you. I was like, okay, sharp. And then I continued to just serve. And then at one point, they were like, listen, we need you on the team. And I came on. So this was at the same church where I did my internship, right? So then they called me.
There's
They were like,
also internship on churches.
yeah.
That's a new.
There's also internships.
So, yeah. So it's so what it is, it's like a development program. So for example, with that church for me, and this is what I think every church should have something like this. I just come out of high school. I don't know what to do with my life. I don't know where I'm going. And I know that if I go to church, you know, with this internship, there's basic skills that I learn, right? I learned basic skills. They say, you know, I learned photography. I learned how to do video editing, you know, working with Final Cut, Photoshop, with Premiere Pro. I learned how to run services because we ran big services. So I learned how to run services, the whole multimedia operation. I got on the inside of how do you put together events, because we would put together all these church events. You know, I got to learn about myself in that process. I discovered my gift. So it's a great thing, man. It's a real thing. It's there, and I think it's a wonderful thing. I think every church is supposed to have that. Where after high school, if you ask a young person, what are you gonna do? I don't know what I wanna do. Come, we'll just give you skills. You know, just skills. And with that setup, it was great because I even had the privilege of leaving home. The church had bought a house next to the church. And they said, listen, you and other interns, you can live in there. So it was just a guy house. We would hustle to get food and whatever, but we had a place to stay. And we were serving at the church. We weren't doing nothing. So yeah, that's that.
So you never have that mind of mujolo mind, you know, as they gave you a house at church, and but by that time, but you never had that mind of, hey, you know, you know what's funny? Let me tell you this about myself, and I think this is something that some people will think that I'm kidding when I say this, but I've always been the guy from when I was young. Like when I was a little boy, my biggest dream has always been, I just want to get married. So even when it came to girls, I was never the guy that was just trying to tap on everybody. I wasn't trying to tap everybody. I really was not that guy. So my mind was not there in terms of Njolo. I was just like, you know, I've always been like, I'm looking for my wife. You know, even to this day, I'm like, I'm looking for my wife. I think I found her. I'm not sure. I think I found But
her.
have they ever had you?
Hmm?
You never got hit by
My man.
I knew that one was coming.
You don't know. Hey, let me tell you now. Like, anyone who listens to me probably thinks I'm not over that, because that's how bad it hurts so much that I was taking life lessons out of it. I was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I analyze everything and I think deeper about everything. No, but the last heartbreak I had before the girl that I'm with now, that was deep. That was
What a pain.
That was deep, my man.
So she's the one that made you a motivational speaker.
You know, they say girls from Rustenburg will turn you into a motivational speaker. I'm telling you.
So she broke you to make you. It's just
You know. No, I was already doing what I'm doing, but it's funny because I actually called one of my friends the other day, and he asked me, he was like, "So are you with anyone now?" Because I haven't told a lot of people about this. I was like, yeah, no, man, I've got this girl now, and things are going well. He was like, oh, so at least, so that means as soon as she hurts you, you're gonna write another book. It was like you'll be writing another book, but no, we're not doing heartbreaks anymore. We're not doing heartbreaks anymore.
So she inspired a book even.
Not even. They think that she inspired a book, but not even. But it was a rough one. That one was a rough one. Like, I've always thought to myself, I'm not that guy. And if you ask anyone, like if you told me now that Mbali did whatever, I tell you, move on, my guy. Move on. It's not that deep.
Not that deep.
But when it hit me, I was like, okay, so it actually is that deep. Wait a minute.
It does happen.
Wait a minute. So it does happen that
this thing exists.
people get hit like this.
What actually happened? Like, I would like to, please just share your story with us. What did she do to you? Or what transpired?
Let me tell you now, it was one of those things where you don't, like, I thought everything was good. It was one, I thought we were good. Like, genuinely, I thought everything was fine. I thought we were rocking, we were good. And then, girl is a gangster. Let me tell you this. She's good. No, she's good. So she quit a job that side because we were both in Ruston, but quit a job that side. Got a new job this side. She got a role in, I almost said the TV show, but let me not in one of the telenovelas. I almost put the telenovela out there, but I think she still acts there. I think she still does, but I'm not sure because I don't watch it. But
so we know this
my man. But it was so crazy because what happened was, this is 2020, right? The telenovela is about to come out, beginning of 2020. She's this side, shooting and everything, and then what happens then is that the president, I still remember the day. 26 March 2020.
Yeah.
My fellow South Africans.
Oh yeah.
And then they hit us with that first lockdown. They said 21 days.
Yeah.
She was this side. Good shot. Hey. And then she hit me with one, it's not you, it's me, blah, 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 blah. I don't think I can do this anymore.
Yeah.
I just really think I need to be alone now. And I'm like, over the phone. No, you see, the president said we can't travel right now. So I was like, no, that's good. That's good. You see your face right there? That was my face. I was like,
Just like that.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm trying to. Like, you ever had one of those where you were sleeping and then when you wake up in the middle of the day, you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to put the pieces together.
Like this happened.
You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much how it transpired. That is literally how it happened. It wasn't like, I found out this and that,
Man,
and then I found out this and that. It was just.
So she was in a playing relationship all along.
That's what it seemed like, right? That's what it seemed like, and this is the thing about relationships, right? And I don't like to give advice on relationships. You know those guys when you scroll on social media and you see people with a setup like this, you know that is a bunch of men who are about to say women must. They're about to say that. So I don't really like to give advice on, this is what relationships must look like.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, one of the things that I learned at that time, and I think it was so good that I learned that it was one of the most important lessons I ever learned, which was that no one owes you anything, right? Mm-hmm. And very often people get into relationships and they think people owe them.
Yeah, that's true.
No one owes you anything. And what I had to do with her at that time, I still remember because I was so mad at her, man. I was angry. Like I was angry for 2 months. You ever been angry for 2 months? Like you were just angry.
Oh,
and then one day I was like, no, man, Poloko, you gotta, because this anger is not helping anyone. Like,
it's not taking you anywhere.
So then at that time, something hit me. I was like, oh, man. And when I realized it, it changed everything for me. And what that was, I had to go see her, right? So I called her immediately. I was like, hey, listen, I just need 5 minutes of your time. 5 minutes of your time. Can we meet? She says, yeah, no, for sure. We can meet at such and such a park and blah, blah. So we get to that park and then I speak to her just little pleasantries, and then I'll go on to say what I want to say. I say to her, listen, this is why I wanted to leave with you. Because she knew that I was angry. She knew that I was angry because she tried to do the whole, let's be friends. I'm like, friends. I have enough friends. Like, I don't need more friends. Yeah. But because she knew I was angry, I said to her, listen, what I want to say to you is I'm sorry. Now this sounds like something that a sucker would say, but for me, I said I'm sorry. And the reason that I'm sorry is not because I was angry, but because I was angry at you for not giving me what I thought you owe me. You don't owe me to love you. You don't owe me a relationship. You don't owe me commitment. Ooh. You don't owe that to me. You gave it freely when you gave it. Yeah. When you gave it, you gave it because you wanted to. Yeah. And you can stop whenever you want to. And it would be great if you didn't change your mind like that and switch up on me like that. But the truth is, you don't owe that to me. No one owes you that. Like, no one owes you a relationship. No one owes you commitment. No one owes you loyalty. They give it freely. And should they stop, that's great. Lesson learned. We move on.
What did you learn from me?
I learned what I just gave you. All these bars that I just gave you. You see that part right there? That's the part that you put on TikTok. Yes. And inspire the people. That's the part that you put on TikTok. But that was the biggest thing, man. That was the biggest thing, that no one owes you anything. Yeah. And we gamble. When we get into these relationships, we gamble, especially when you're someone like me who's talking about, no, I want to be a husband and a father. Yeah. You know that you are gambling. Yeah. You put yourself out there, and you just might fall into the traps of the wrong one. And then just like that, snaps you. And then you go on again. So for me, that's what it is. That was the biggest lesson. That was the biggest lesson. It's just beverages coming in. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's about to be a party.
I can get you one.
It's about to be a party. Nah, the water's good. The water's what keeps me flowing.
Cold drink, juice.
No, I'm good. Water works great.
Okay. Water does the thing.
My water works as well.
Okay, Poloko. So what's your home language?
Tswana.
And then your father, the one who Tswana, ne? And then
so, we're Tswana. My dad is Sotho. My dad is Sotho, but everyone else at home we are Tswana.
Yeah. So if you could back 10 English, if you could go back to your 18-year-old and fix what you did not do, what would you fix?
18 years old. That's when I was in matric. To be honest with you, I think I would just be a lot more daring. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of things that I've had to where I've just been like, okay, wait. Do I do it? Do I go? Do I not go? Do I not go? And certain things took longer than they were supposed to. Like I told you, there isn't anything that I look back at and think, I wonder what would have happened. But if I had to go back to that 18-year-old, what I would do is, going back to what I mentioned as well earlier, I would actually make a plan for me to get to tertiary. Yeah. Or to study something. Just to get to studying something. I don't care what it is. If it's a certificate, if it's a whatever. I just say to myself, don't listen to those guys. Learn something, get some information. But other than that, it would just be for me to be a lot more daring and just go for whatever I want to, however I want to. Okay. Not take too long thinking about it. Because so far it's working great. I've learned from that. Now I don't think for too long. I just go. Yeah.
So you're strong enough now.
Yeah, strong. So going back to social, now we never talked about social media. What made you actually start like TikTok? Because I think that's where you blow up. What came on your mind already? You know what? Now I'm going to do TikTok.
So what actually happened was it was during that 2020 lockdown. Because what I did was I used to work face to face with people in my hometown. Now everything is shut down. There are no gatherings. I can't put together any, seminar or event or workshop, anything. I was like, okay, I see everyone is on social media. People are saying a bunch of things on social media. I've got a message, right? I felt like I have a message that is for everyone. Let me put it out there. So I started putting the message out there. So it was, that's what got me into it. What got me into social media was the fact that I have a message. I need a platform to share the message. And I can't be face to face with people. So I went into social media.
And then how did that change your life?
You know what? Everyone around me right now, every major player in my life, I met through social media.
Really?
My entire support structure, man. You know, I'll drop some names right now. People like Amanda. I have just the other day, I actually went to my TikTok DMs and I saw a message that she sent me back then when my content was blowing up. She then sent me a message. I didn't know her at all. She sends me a DM. In the DM, she sends me a link. And in this link, it's a media list. Right? It's a media list. So radio stations, you know, papers, everybody who is well connected somewhere, you know, all the relevant people. She sends me a whole list. Then she drops a message, says to me, God just put it in my heart. It was placed in my spirit to help you out. I just want to be a helper to you. You can use that however you want to. And then she went on to say to me, if you want me to help you out, I want to help. But if you don't want to, you know, there's the list. It can help you, you know, here and there. But I know some stuff and I can help. And I was like, man, that's deep. So, you know, I got in touch with her. And right now, she's the biggest player, man. She's the biggest player in what I do. Main character, I'm telling you, like the cover of my last book, she's the one who did the cover, because when I wrote my first book, I was alone in the process, right? Writing my first book, I did the writing, you know, I even did the editing myself at that time. At that time, I didn't even have a laptop. I was doing this thing on my phone, right? On my, like, I started writing on a piece of paper. You know, as I was writing on the book, I was like, man, I'm gonna need to type this out. I don't have a laptop right now. I started typing on my phone, just on my phone, typing a whole book on that phone, man. And, you know, did the cover myself. The cover was so simple. It was boring. It was a boring cover. And when Amanda came in, she was like, I have another idea. You know, she sent me a cover. She was like, let's go with this. I was like, well, sure, let's go with it. You know, why would I say no? And she's been doing that ever since. Even the next book, she designed that cover and a whole lot of other things, man. A whole lot of other things that are happening in the background. She's doing that. There are some other key players as well. It's too many to name. People like Ayanda, who really looked out for me, and everyone else around me I met on social media. So that's really how social media changed my life. I mean, I ended up sitting with people like Tibo Taj, who that was because of social media, right? Sitting there with that man and just seeing, you know, listening to him speak and seeing how he operates, how he moves. And to this day, every time I meet him, we need to do some work. I'm like, sure, Uncle Taj, we're gonna do some work. Yeah. So yeah, changed my life in many ways. But you know, just to mention, that's how. But in many ways, man. Yeah. Basically, my career is being built out of social media.
Oh man, that's nice, awesome. That's awesome. So between now we are moving slightly to the other side. You know, when I laugh a bit, you know, between money and sexual, I would say stability. Which one would you choose?
Sexual stability.
Yes.
Is that even a thing? Doesn't money come with everything?
No, you can date someone that does not make you happy in bed, but you love it.
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction.
Money satisfaction or sexual satisfaction?
Yeah.
Money, guys. What are we?
No, but money.
What are we doing? Money. What are we saying?
Money.
Okay. You know how many guys I know
money
who
can
just...
do anything, man.
Money can do anything. It can get you.
You can just go buy.
Do you know how many broke guys are having sex every day? And they broke.
They're getting it for free.
Like they're dirt broke.
Obvious.
And then afterwards, you know, because that's how good it is. There's pregnancy. Now you call us for Pampers.
Yeah, understand, Alenda. Understand, Alenda.
I had a talk with one of the guys some time ago. This dude hit me up. hey man, this is the situation, and I really feel like every time I reach out to you, you can't help, and you don't know what it's like to have a child. I'm like, yes, I don't know what it's like.
Because you don't have one.
I don't know what it's like. Even do you think I don't want to make children? I also want to make children. You went ahead and you made. We all have the same equipment. You chose to use yours. Now you pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's it for me. But no, I want to be financially stable.
And then I heard you
Money
said
comes
you're
first.
going through a lot about you almost sold your car.
So it wasn't even a matter of going through a lot. So the story of how I sold my first car. This is that 2020 period. At that time, after I'd been working
2020?
in 2020.
Yeah.
2020.
Okay.
So end of 2019, I was still working at the church, and I said, "Man, I'm tired. Not just that I'm tired, but there's more to life. Like I just want more. There are more people. The world is bigger. Like there are more hearts for me to reach. I can make something of myself. I want to be a businessman. I wanna do a lot of things, man. I want to do a lot of things. And at that time, I was in a place where where that wasn't really allowed. I didn't have the space to do that. So I remember at that time, actually, it went as far as my employer calling me in and trying to get me to sign a piece of paper that says you're not gonna have any side hustles or anything.
Beside this.
Yeah, besides the work I'm doing. So, as I said,
Really?
Yeah, my man, I'm telling you now. And I said, okay, I want to get married. I wanna buy a home for my parents.
Was it at church?
Yeah. And I was like, what's supposed to happen with the money that you paid me? What is supposed to happen? Like, how do you think I'm gonna afford everything that I need to do? 'Cause I need to be an independent man. Like, I need to level up. So at that time, that's when I said, you know what? There's more, man. There's more. I didn't have anything in my savings at the time. All I had was my car. I wasn't living at home at the time. I said, you know what? I'm willing to go back home. At the time, I was 23. 24. Yeah, I was 24.
You already told us age. Are you aware, man?
Oh, I guess so. So at this point, it's like a lot of your peers are moving up, right? It seems like everybody's moving up because everybody is just buying their Polo, and then some are leveling up from the Polo to getting a GTI or whatever. And I'm going from my first car back home, right? I'm like, I don't mind. I'll sell my car. I'll go live at home, and then I will start building from scratch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start building from scratch. I'm gonna do the work that I'm doing. I'm gonna build my career as a speaker. I don't mind. It was worth.
I remember by lockdown, you were going to, every time when you go live, like you were going to school tour. You were doing school tours, right?
Sure. So at that time, I was still I was still doing schools, and some schools would just try to sneak you in to come and speak to their students because they can't have too many people come in and out because of the COVID thing. But at that time I just it wasn't like I was going through a lot and I sold my car. It was a gamble. I was like, I need some money that I can invest in what I'm doing. Sold the car. Guess what? From that money that I got from the car, blew it. Gone. Listen, I was back at zero.
Yeah.
When I tell you that I went back to buying hourly data, the 1 hour data. That's the guy I was. You know what I'm saying? That's the guy I was, man. Yeah. It was one of those things, but and it wasn't even because I blew the money doing stupid things. When I say stupid things, I mean just being careless. It was just I was learning. And I took a gamble over here, I was wrong. I took a gamble over here, I was wrong. And then I did this and I was wrong. And at the time I was actually selling merchandise.
Yeah.
Selling merchandise. Like I was starting my own brand. I was like, I'm gonna start my own brand. I was selling hoodies and t-shirts and caps, and it was cool, man. It was really cool. It was a great learning experience. Did that, in that I made a bunch of mistakes. I didn't really understand business once again. Like I said about having information, I didn't know how business works. To me, I sold 5 hoodies today. I've got 2,000. Man, pizza. Pizza or a bucket of KFC. Let's go. Let's go. Now I did my thing today.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the story of how I ended up selling that car. It was just me saying I'm gonna jump, I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and I went ahead and did it, man. I went ahead and did it. So that's what it was.
So actually, where you were working, they were actually cursing you that you won't do it beside this.
Yeah, so it was like you can't do anything else.
Yeah,
you can't do anything else except this. I was like, nope.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
I'm bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? And it's not even like an arrogant, braggadocious. No, I'm the man. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's just I owe it to myself to bring out whatever God has put in me.
You,
and if I have so much in me, like one day I'm gonna stand before God and I can't say, no, it was because Jobe was a gatekeeper. I can't say that. And I listen to people all the time like make these kind of excuses. You don't know there are gatekeepers around. And it's like one day at the end of my life, I can't point fingers at another man and say it was him. It's like, no, if he's the problem, then find another way or move him out of the way. Do whatever you have to. You're a man. And one day I'm gonna have kids. I can't pass excuses on to my kids and say to my kids, let me tell you why your dad is still getting $350 a month.
Yeah,
it's because so and so was doing this and that. I can't do that. I have to be able to, say to my kids, listen, there were odds, there was this, there was that, but we found a way. We found a way, man. We're hustlers. I come from a family of hustlers. My family has never been rich, but always made it happen.
Are they
hard
Christian?
workers.
Yeah, Christian as well.
Yeah, they're Christians as well. So
Do you drink?
I don't.
Why?
I've never had an interest in it. I've never had an interest. So I've drank one time in my life. Like I've had one beer, and after that I was like, why? Why did I do? And my head was spinning. I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And this is when I was a teenager. I was like, why? Like, I'm trying to make sense of it. I was like, first of all, it didn't taste good, but I was willing to drink it because everyone else is drinking. I want to feel what they feel. And afterwards, I was like, my head is spinning.
Is this what they feel?
My head is spinning. Why? Like, when I have a headache, I try to get better. Why would I want to go get a headache? Like, yeah, to me, it didn't make sense.
It's because you drank one, my friend. Let me tell you, you must not drink one. Never, ever.
That's what they told me.
Yeah, you drank one. You must have
Wine. That's drinking wine.
No, he says
Wine.
because I had one.
Because you had one. Yes. Obviously, it's going to give you a headache.
That's what they told me. People
So that
keep
you
saying,
should have
no,
had
you-
like a few. Like
you were supposed to go further.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this. Another thing as well for me, it's I don't understand why I would take anything that would alter my mind in any way. I am a firm believer that the only thing I have is my mind. That's the only thing I have. People talk about the richest place, and we always have arguments about all kinds of colonization and the land and whatever. The richest place is here. This is the richest place, and once they colonize this, then you're done. Then you're done. Once this is taken over, then you're done. So for me, it's always been a matter of I want to be conscious at all times. I want to be alert, awake, vigilant at all times. And if I can always be seeing what's happening around me, if I can always be aware of what's happening around me, and I don't mess with my mind, I'm just scared of messing with my mind, man. I'm like, why? I don't see why I should be messing with this thing. So, that's why I never, smoking is one thing. I never even tried it. Smoking, I never even tried, but drinking, it was just at one time. And just the fact that I was also, like, my decision making was impaired. right? It was impaired. When it comes to, I remember that day very clearly, very, very clearly. It's a long story, which I don't know if I should actually tell. But
When
No,
was
you
that?
can.
When was that? When was that?
this is high school.
Oh, okay.
This is high school, right? So at that time, because also another thing is I was a late bloomer in everything. I was a late bloomer. So my first kiss, that was when I was in high school, 16, right? When I was 16, that's when I had my first kiss, and it was on that day. Right now, I didn't care. Like guys would talk about this, that girl. I didn't care, man. I was like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't care. And on that day, I still remember it was a school event. These guys bought some alcohol, poloko, swara. And that's one of the things that I love about people who drink. Like they listen, when it comes to anything destructive, yes, you will always have access to it. They will always share with you what's gonna kill you. The same guys, I'll tell you this. These guys who gave me a bottle, right? The same guys. I still remember 2 days before that, I came to school without money for food. I begged them, I said, gents, $10. I want to buy a chip roll from the tuck shop. No one.
Alcohol.
No one pulled up. But when I tell you that every time I was with these guys, if they were smoking, someone offered me. They were like, no, I'm cool. But when we're eating, no one ever said poloko. So, and that for me already bothered me. That for me was already questionable. I was like, why? How is this okay with you guys? How is it that you guys are okay with this kind of with this way of living? Like, I don't want to be around people who will offer me something that they know is not good for me, and they offer it freely. Right? When they offer me poison, they offer it with open hands. But when it's something that's gonna help me out, it's like no. You know what I'm saying? It's if you ever showed up to school without doing your homework and one of them did their homework, you could never find a way of copying out of them. It's like, come on, gents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me it was those little things that were just way too questionable for me. And so the story of that first time that I drank, the only time really, that night, that's when I had my first kiss, right? And there was this girl, it seems like she had always wanted me, which I didn't know. I didn't know that she always wanted me. And it's loud, we're at school, it's at night, there was a foam party at school. And everyone is chilling, everyone is just kicking it. She sees that everyone is hooking up all over the place. I'm not hooking up with anybody. She comes over to me, says hi, and then just goes on to kiss me. I'm shocked because this is the first time I've ever kissed a girl. I'm like, what's going on right? But I don't wanna act like a punk. I act like I know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the next day, when I heard about it, everyone was talking about it. I was like, never again. Everyone was talking about it because, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have kissed her. I wouldn't have. When I thought about it the next day, I was like, I never would have. This would not be the choice I made.
Why Nelly Scob?
No, lovely girl. lovely girl.
Okay.
Who was cool. No, I'll tell you. Actually, the reason was, and the reason why it actually became a big thing at school. This is where there was this girl that I had a crush on, and apparently the girl had a crush on me, and now the next morning, the girl wasn't there for the event. The next morning when this girl comes to school who I have a crush on, she hears that I kissed so-and-so. Man, I was so angry. Like, I was mad. And she comes over to me, she says, can we just not talk anymore? I'm just not okay with everything that... I'm like, why? What's going on? And then, later on she says to me, what, to be honest with you, I liked you and I couldn't stand the fact that happened with so. I was like...
Damn.
I was like, never, because I was like, I never would have done it if my mind was not slightly altered. And I'm not saying that you've got to use this as an excuse for whatever decisions you make. But
I was going there. I drink. I drink, my guy. I drink, and I find nothing wrong with drinking. If I was not drinking, I was gonna be a different person from this. I grew up in church. My father was a pastor. So it happens that I you see motivation, the Bible and everything. I did it for a very long time. But when I started drinking, that's when I found my peace.
Yeah.
So we're not the same. We're two different.
What does that mean? I'm curious actually. Found your peace in what sense?
That's when I could get to know that this is who I am, this is what I like, this is what I want to do with my life. Because from growing up, it was always that, Andres, you're supposed to be this person. You need to grow up to become this. You know. So I was a good child growing up. So I always obeyed laws, always listened, and wanted to prove to them that I can be the person that they think that I can. But when I was I see it now.
That makes sure.
This one is not me, So now I can work. I can do whatever that I wanna do.
And do you feel like that wouldn't have happened if you didn't start drinking?
Yeah.
So right now, if Andres stopped drinking, are you saying that Andres would lose
No.
himself?
I would be, but the thing that unlocked
Yeah.
Andres
I get you.
was me having like that small time of joy, that okay, I'm drunk now, I can dance in front of people, I'm loud, I can talk to because I was always shy, always thinking, always trying to be, a child. Yeah.
I get you.
But now, if I stay a very long time without drink, like 3-4 months without drinking, But what I'm saying is that I drink.
No, I get you. One of the reasons that one of the other reasons that I don't actually drink for me is because I have a very addictive personality. I get hooked on things very easily. Very easily I get hooked. So it's one of those things I don't want to, even when you say you were supposed to drink some more because a lot of things are like that. Like you eat something that you don't enjoy and it's like, nah, eat some more and then you'll get used to it. I don't want to get used to alcohol because I don't know how far I'm going to go with it.
You might go too deep.
I don't know. And I'm not one of those people who are going to sit here and tell you, no, I know myself and nope. Nope. And people often lie. When I listen to someone say, no, I know myself. And it's like, of course, you always know yourself until it happens, until you go too far.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's, and I used to say this to high school students when I would speak to them, which was that there is no one sitting in rehab who was there because it was always a dream of theirs. No one ever said, I want to end up in rehab one day. No one ever said, I want to be an alcoholic or I want to be a drug addict. Like the young guys that die from overdoses, they didn't want that.
Yeah.
It started somewhere. It was the first sip. And to me, it's scary that when that 14-year-old took that first sip, he didn't know that at 21, this is how he would die. Like no other reason. And they know it was his time. No, it wasn't his time. It wasn't his time. It was this one thing. So for me, it's always been a crazy thing. And I tried to say that to high school students all the time, that no one sits in rehab and says, I made it. All of them sit and say, I never thought I would be this guy. Yeah. You ask anyone, like it goes even as far as abusers, men who abuse women. They'll say, I never thought, I don't know. I never thought that this would be me. And so for me, when we get really into the real reason why I don't drink, it's that I don't know. I don't know how far I can go. And I'm not willing to find out. It's one of those things I don't have to go and find out.
Yeah. It's not for you.
Yeah, like for me, I can tell you now, it's really not for me.
Yeah.
It's really not for me. Because I can tell simple things like, I want to stop drinking Coke. I really want to stop drinking Coke, but man, I'm trying. I'm trying to stop drinking Coke. And Fanta and all these fizzy drinks, I'm trying to stop drinking it because I'm like, the sugar's too much and it's unhealthy. I'm trying to stop, but I can't stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can only imagine that if I was drinking alcohol and, with this kind of personality, I don't know how far I could take it. Yeah. And I know it sounds like a silly example, but for me, it's a real thing. And I say to a lot of guys, I'm like, man, if you made it to your 20s, you don't have to go find out. Like, you don't have to go try. You know what I'm saying? Some people only got into it earlier on and, I mean, some people, they're in their 30s and they're trying to experiment with alcohol. I'm like, you're a grown man. What are you experimenting? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's no useless
you might uncover something that you don't want to know. You might find something out that you don't want to know. So
You know, I feel the very same way with drugs. You see, the way you're so scared, like taking drugs, like taking alcohol. I feel the very same way, like taking drugs or any other thing that's gonna intoxicate me further. I'm very, even with the drink. Let's say we are partying and stuff. When I leave it like this, when I come back, I won't drink it anymore. I'll make sure that I drink another. I'm always cautious because drugs, bruh, they are killing our brothers each and every day.
Yep. And none of them know. Like, sorry, I was gonna say, and it's that, right? It's the same thing that you were saying that I was saying to you right now, that, and you don't have to find out. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to find
Not
out.
at
Like
all.
you're a grown man. You've got a mind of your own now. Like, you know, Poloko couldn't come here and convince you to start doing drugs.
Yeah.
And you cool.
Yeah.
You're cool. This is you now. You know who you are. You don't have to.
Yeah. So what's your best tip for making the world better place?
I think everybody, you know, one of the things that I've been very intentional about these days is thinking, right? People don't think, man. People don't think. And I learned this from reading a lot of books. Like, I've been reading so much on the human mind and the power of thinking. And also just listening to a lot of great speakers who really focus on the subject of thinking. I heard someone once said, if people said what they were thinking, they would be speechless. Said most people would be speechless. They would have nothing to say if they had to think first, because most people don't think. Most people really don't think. So for me, that's the starting point. I wrote How Can I Make a Difference last year, and that was my starting point. Was like, I don't think a lot of people actually think about the fact that the BJ podcast can make the world a better place. And I'm not saying sit here and preach to people, but it can make the world a better place. Whatever business you are doing, you know, the guys who are behind the scenes, who are, you know, production managers, guys who do, you know, video editing, multimedia, whatever you do, I think if you will just take a moment and think, how is it that this can impact the next person?
Yeah.
And I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. Whether you could be a model. How is it that my modeling can make the world a better place? And because people don't think about that, they end up using whatever it is that they have to harm people, to hurt people. Like, I get very sad when I look at entertainers who use their platforms to harm the youth.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't think about it. They wouldn't say
Just
that that's
do
what
it.
they're doing.
Yes,
They don't say that that's what they're doing, but that's what they're doing, you know. And should something happen that requires for you to post a picture of a black hand like this, then you could post a picture of a black hand like this, and the very next day, you go on to feed them all kinds of garbage that, you know, ends up with young people hurting themselves, you know, harming themselves in many ways. So for me, it's that. Pause. Just pause long enough to think, how is it that what I do can help the next person? And I don't get, no, it's about the bag. You're gonna make a bunch of money, right? We pay people who help us, right? We pay people who give us food. The farmer is well paid. Trust me, the farmer is well paid. And their whole job is to feed the nation. Like, the farmer's job is to feed the nation. And in what I do, I think like a farmer. Every single day, I'm like, okay, Poloko, what can you feed people today? You're going to feed people. And I know you want to become rich, and you want the mansions, and you want the cars, and you want to do this and that. But for you to get there, you're going to have to feed people something, and they'll pay you for it. They will pay you for feeding them. Sometimes it's something as simple as, you know, much of what you do, which is that you just feed them joy, man. You make somebody smile. You make somebody laugh. And it pays well. It pays well on your part and on their part as well. But I'll say to anybody, if you want to make a difference, if you want to have any kind of impact, just pause and think about what you do, not what Polokos doing. Because I know a lot of guys, when they're inspired to make a difference, you'll see them just set up the phone and start to put the soft music in the background and say, sometimes in life, no. Like, what is it that you do? What is it that you do? That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even dissing anybody because that's what I do. I speak and I inspire people. My gift is communicating. Some people are dancers, man. It's like you can dance and it can make a difference. If you're a businessman, how does this make a difference? How does it impact the next person? So if you want to make an impact, right there in your lane, figure out how you do it in your lane. You don't have to switch lanes. You don't have to try and be whoever it is that you saw making a difference. What is it that you can do with the BJ podcast that can impact millions of people? That for me is a massive thing, man. This podcast here, and I'm telling you about, I'm not even using an illustration that's far. I'm saying to you, this podcast here can do a massive thing. It's something as simple as saying, let me get Poloko to come and say something. And you know that you didn't get me here so I can get you more followers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't get me here so I can get you more followers. That's not why you got me here.
Yeah.
You know that there's something that I'm going to give to the people. And that way, the BJ podcast is making a difference. You are touching the hearts of people. So for me, that's what it is. Just take a moment, for anybody out there, take a moment, think about what you do and how you can do it in a way that's going to change the game for somebody out there. You think about one of the things that I wrote about in my last book is the fact that you think about someone who is where you used to be. You remember where you used to be. Think about someone who was there. I talk about that period in 2020 where I was just frustrated and so close to being depressed. I look back at that period, and when I look back at that time, I think about someone who is in that position, someone who is feeling the way that I felt. And if you can do that, that's a powerful thing, man. That's a powerful thing. Like you can really pull people up. You can pull people out of a really bad place. And like I said, you make them cry, you make them laugh, I don't care.
Just make an impact.
But you make an impact. That's
That's a motivational.
Wow, that's a very good one. I'm motivated too. I felt for a moment like this guy is talking to me. He's motivating me. That's said somewhere. I think a lot of people needed to hear that. A lot of people needed to hear that. Take time and think.
Yeah. No, you have to, man. You have, and I'll tell you this. For example, let me ask you, like, what's the plan with the BJ podcast? Like, where do you think it's going?
As far as
I know I'm turning the tables here and I'm interviewing, but
which is good.
Which is good.
But where do you think the BJ podcast is going?
I want to see people being entertained, everyone, Yeah.
And do you think, like, when you look at podcasts such as, Podcast and Chill, do you see the BJ podcast being in that conversation?
Yeah, man. Obviously, I can say I can put my podcast on top 5. Yeah. By the faith, I do that. Yeah, top 5 of podcasts in Mzansi.
For sure. And when is that happening?
It's happening already.
So when are we competing with the podcast and chill? When I say competing, I don't mean it in a negative connotation, but I mean, being, also
on the
being
same level as them.
On that level, as soon as possible.
As soon as possible. When is as soon as possible, John?
It's on the way. Like my consistency, the way I'm pushing, I'm getting there. I believe by the faith that I'll be there. Yeah,
for sure. And that's powerful, right? And I'll tell you this as well. One of the things that I'll say to you is, give yourself a date.
Yeah.
Give yourself a date. Like, challenge yourself with a date. One of the things that I've done for myself now is with my next book, I've challenged myself to sell 100,000 copies of my book.
Yeah.
Within a year.
100,000.
100,000. So I've said that for myself, and it's for a year. I've said that, I've said from the day of the launch on the 5th of November to the 5th of November next year, we must have done 100,000. And that's something that I've said for myself, and it's scary. But you know why it's scary? What makes it so scary is that it gives you an opportunity to fail. Like, you can fail. Just like if you say right now, if you are bold enough on camera to say next year, June.
January.
January.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, next year, January, I will be on the same level as Podcast and Chill. If you say that right now,
It's a fate.
Let's say
It's-
it.
As I
Let's
said,
say
by
it.
the
We
fate.
are going to say it
sure.
live on the BJ podcast. Jobe,
I say this by the fate. Next year, January, end of January, I will be there. By the fate. I believe.
sure.
yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
And you see, when you do that, what makes it scary is because you said this.
there's no
Right.
pressure.
Now
There's
I have
pressure
to-
now. There's pressure now.
Commitment.
Now it also gives you a chance to fail. Like you can fail now. Like if you don't set a goal, you won't fail. And I'll encourage you as well to even go as far as putting numbers to it. Like don't just say I'll be on that level. Like when you leave here, to think about it and say, what does that level mean? Like that level means say if I want 300,000 views per episode, right? Or I want 500,000 views per episode. Like that has to be somewhere like in numbers.
Yeah.
So that when you don't hit it, you look at yourself and you say, Joby, you missed the mark. But the good thing is you'll be much further than you would have been if you didn't put those numbers up. You'll be much further than you would have been. And when you hit it, people will look at you and say, we always knew it. They not many people really believe that. I can tell you now that
Yeah,
most of the people who just heard you say you want to be on the same level as Podcast and Chill, they don't believe it. They don't believe it.
that's true.
But if Jobe believes it, if Andres believes it, if Amandla believes it, it's Amandla, right?
Yeah.
Yes. If Amandla believes, if everyone in this room believes it, that's really what matters. That's really what matters, because from here now, that means with this episode, you and the team get together. Okay, how do we make sure that we get this to the next level? How do we make sure that we hit that
growing.
mark? Okay, sharp. Now we said that we are doing Podcast and Chill numbers by the end of January. Now we work it back. So that means by next month, what must have happened by next month if we're gonna do those numbers in January? Now it gets, listen, you know when they say the pressure is getting worse.
The pressure is getting worse.
I'm telling you, and it's good. It's good, right? Because that's how you grow. But most people think they're winning because they have nothing that they're aiming for. They think they're winning. And that's because they had no goal. And to them, no, we're winning. Look, we are now at 100,000. If you took some time to think, you could have been at 500,000.
Yeah.
Right? If you took some time to plan and execute your plans, you could have been at 1 million. No, we are killing it, But what does killing it mean? Compared to what? It's just compared to nothing. You're comparing it to nothing, so you can't say that you're winning. If you said, we were aiming for 50,000 and we hit 50,000, great. You're winning. But it's a scary thing, man. It's a scary thing to set goals, to put dates to it, to put these deadlines to it, and to set goals that are really that wild. And because after you do Podcast and Chill, you've got to think now, Joe Rogan. You know what I'm saying? I think about Joe Rogan, I'm like, how is Joe Rogan doing this? Like, do you know that I've spent a whole night trying to figure out how this man is doing it? Just going to his podcast, listening to them, and looking into his pages, his life, and seeing, like, how does Joe Rogan do it? How is it that he does it? And most people don't think so. So most people just think that's Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
What? Where's he from? Is this because he's an alien or what? Oh man, no, we can do anything. Like we can do anything. So I set those goals for myself. I put myself in the ranks of everybody. I put myself in the ranks of Vusi Tembekwayo, who is a phenomenal speaker. I put myself in the ranks of, the greatest in the world, not just in South Africa, the Eric Thomases and the Tony Robbins and all these guys. I put myself there, and I'm thinking backwards from there. Like right now, you guys are speaking to the #1 speaker in the world, right?
Oh yeah, live on the DJ podcast.
Yes, sir.
Number
So,
one speaker
#1
in the world.
#1. Right now, you are speaking to the guy that sold 100,000 copies of his second book independently. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me,
Prophecy. It's prophesied into life.
this is it. This is where I am. This is where my mindset is. And to someone else, it sounds ridiculous. It sounds crazy. It sounds silly. But why would I want to do it any other way, man? Why would I want to think any other way? This seems to be the way that winners are thinking. This seems to be the way that the visionaries of the world, the ones who changed the world, the ones who moved industries in a major way. That seems to be how they are thinking.
Yeah.
So probably I can do it too. And I'm not even at a point where I'm inventing new things. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm trying to do things that have never been done. Right? I'm gonna get there. Right now I'm trying to do things that other people have already done because why not me?
Yeah.
Why not me? I'm smart, I'm sharp as can be. You know what I'm saying? Look at me. You saw how I'm dressed.
Yeah.
Have
you ever dressed
Please,
like
But you do look good.
please.
like those casual clothes before?
Nah, I dress casually all the time, man.
Poloko.
No, like I'm actually quiet because like I'm inspired. Like I'm shooked because like he's so humble and
Yeah.
like
I think even me, I'm also
like I'm like
inspired enough
Yeah, I'm also inspired
for
to
the rest
be
of
true.
my life.
yeah, I'm gonna do better.
Yeah, man, thank you so much, man, for coming through on BJ Podcast. We are really blessed to have someone
have
like
you.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor.
Next year, this time,
this
I am
time.
saying it. Next year, this time, we are gonna be having Meg G on our show, and we're gonna say,
next month. Next month, bro.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure we are on the same level now. You know,
Bruh, come on, you don't believe how as much as we
can bring Meg G. We can bring Meg G.
Actually,
But I'm
that's
saying,
my question. That's my.
But I'm saying,
why next year this time? First of all, this man lives in South Africa, doesn't he?
exactly.
Exactly.
How far does he live from here? Is he in Gauteng?
no, I'm saying we're gonna call him
Yeah, he's
to
in
have a
Gauteng.
conversation about our growth. Next year, January, since we set a goal for ourselves, that January we're gonna be hitting numbers just like Meg G's doing. So next year, January, we're gonna have him on the show and be having those conversations.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So Poloko, for the listeners and viewers, where can they find you and your books if they want you, man?
Go to polokoglobal.com. polokoglobal.com. That's POLOKO global. You understand why I said global?
Global.
Yeah, obvious.
We
get the
doing this
memo.
worldwide. So yeah, just go to polokoglobal.com. Help us get to that 100,000. Let's go to that 100,000. We are writing a very, very unique story right now. Just trust me on this. It's a really good story. So polokoglobal.com for the book, and on all the socials it's poloko.rtb. Just poloko.rtb. That's the handle on all social media platforms.
Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button, like, leave a comment again. Again, you guys, I love the way I love the way you commented, guys, on episode 16. Yeah, hit again.
So yeah, Poloko, to going back to Jobe's question, I'm not saying like, okay, to someone that's watching now, to a youngster that's watching and that wants to become a speaker like you, but they're afraid to go out there, what can you actually say to them? Because they're scared of the negativity they're going to get from people. What can you actually say to that person?
The negativity is coming in hot. It's coming in fast. It's coming. You can't get away from it. But you know what I'm saying? It is coming. It is coming. As soon as you start doing anything significant, anything that is
Different.
worth talking about, they're gonna have opinions. But to anyone that is afraid, well, first of all, for anyone who's saying I want to speak, like, we live in a wonderful time where you can just switch on your camera and do it. But also I would say be active in the real world, right? And I think this is very important for a lot of young guys out there. Be active in the real world. Exist in the real world. You can't have social media be the place where you exist, because as soon as the one day that you're gonna say something that they don't like, they're gonna crush you.
That's true.
Right? They're gonna crush you the one day that you say something that they don't appreciate, that they don't agree with. Because people on social media are stupid as well. They can't just say I don't agree. No, they have to talk about everything. They want to talk about big headed. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what does that have to do with anything? So with that, I'll say to anyone who wants to be a speaker, I had the privilege of speaking to people in person before I went on social media.
Okay.
Now I'm at a point where I don't read these social media comments. Like every now and then, I might ask somebody to have a look at my comments and then, just tell me which video to go to where I should comment. Because whether you like it or not, these negative comments get to everybody.
That's true.
Right? And I'll say this to you as well, because they're talking about episode 16, right? I'll say this to you as well. Like you can't fool me. You can fool everybody, but I know negative comments get to you.
Yeah.
Right? I know they hit you in some way. They get to you. So if you will just exist in the real world, you don't have to read those comments. You don't have to read those comments. Why am I reading comments? I served you guys and I'm out. And I know this goes against what a lot of people are saying about social media. Read the comments, be in touch with the people. But for me, if it's for your own mental sanity, I don't care. I don't care about being in touch with the people, No. If for me, I have to keep a sane mind. If it means I'll have to give Job in my phone and say, hey man, listen, check the comments. Is it safe for me to go in there? If he says, hey man, don't go in there. Okay, I'm not going in there then.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going
But
in
what
there.
if your heart wants you to go there?
That's where the danger is.
You see,
That's where the danger is.
Let me tell you something. The heart the heart is a stupid organ. I'm telling you now. The heart will get you in trouble. The heart will get you in trouble, and you think you can handle it. You'll think you can handle it, but these things just plant seeds, man. They plant little seeds of doubt, little seeds of just bitterness,
Yeah.
and you'll think it's doing nothing right now, and you get over it. But next week you wake up angry. Next week you
true.
wake up in a bad mood. You don't even know why, but it's
Why?
those seeds that were planted. So I'll say, man, the negativity is out there. People will always have something to say. In this podcast, someone will have something to say. Look at him. Who does he think he is in a suit? You too. Like, I don't care. I don't care, man. Like, so for me, I'm saying, I think the best piece of advice is exist in the real world, man. Do what you do in the real world. And social media, of course, is a big part of what we do, but it can't be that place where you find your validation.
That's
because
true.
all of us need validation, and you're lying if you say you don't need validation. We want the likes, we want the comments, we want all of that, but it's very different when these comments and these likes come from face to face, right?
Yeah, it's true.
This to me is massive. The applause that comes from face to face is massive, because this is when people are most genuine. On social media, they'll get on that comment section and they'll read other comments just to see what everybody else is saying, so they can also say what everybody else is saying.
Is saying.
So exist in the real world. If you want to get started in the real world. Find two people, speak to them, wherever it is, whatever industry you want to be in, whatever space you want to be in, start doing this in the real world.
And forget about negativity.
You know what I'm saying? And then put your content out there if you have to. Once you put it out there, if you know that these negative comments are going to hit you, stay away from them. I don't care. Digital marketers will tell you go read comments. Nope. I say not. If you're going to be depressed,
That's
don't
true.
do it. Don't do it if you're going to be depressed. So, yeah, real world, be out there. That's really...
Thank you so much, Poloko.
Guys, I
Aye,
appreciate
man.
it, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And, Prajobe, listen, man, from my side, and I must say this as well before we wrap up, I know that now we doing one of those 2-hour podcasts, but from my side, bro, and this is the reason why I came here, right? I came here because I think I've met you once before. I think I've only ever met you once before, and even that one time, there was this humility that came with your presence. Like, you're a really genuine dude. You're a humble dude. And I can tell that with what you are doing, you are genuine about what you're doing. And you are yourself. Like, this is Jobe. I don't, I don't see you trying to be whoever else. I don't see you trying to do whatever else that so-and-so is doing. And I'm telling you now that I believe you. When you say that you're going to go and get on that level of podcast, I believe that you can do it. I really believe that you can do it. And I could tell lately that you are in a space where you are really going hard. You're really going hard, and you've put yourself in a good space. You've put yourself in a space where, like, I see you tuning into my live streams. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see you in there. I see you going into some other live streams as well that I've been on, where people are exchanging knowledge, information, and you're in there. So for me, man, I wish you the best. I wish you the best.
So much,
and
man.
you know, if ever there's anything that you feel like Poloko can actually assist with, you shout, man.
Yeah,
you
thank
shout.
you so much,
just
man. Thank you, man.
give me a call, and let's do those numbers.
Yeah, man.
Let's
Let's
do
operate.
those,
Let's operate.
those global numbers.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. It was nice having you here on BJ Podcast.
Man, I appreciate it.
We really blessed.
I appreciate
As
it.
a blessed.
You.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
much.
Thanks,
Spoke
guys. That was the ending.
We out.
Siyazi ukuthi ayisemnandi but chayile. Dish.